This book is called The Giver by Lois Lowerly. The main character in this book is someone called Jonas. Now, Jonas lives in some place in the future called the community. In the community, everything is perfect, everyone is polite, there are no wars, no hate, no anger, and no colors or anything. Now, the reason there are no colors or any war or basically nothing is because in the past, since there was a lot of war, the leaders of the world decided they cannot live like this anymore, and they chose for the easier option, just give up. So they basically all became mindless robots, not knowing anything of the past, and not knowing what love is, or color is, or basically anything else that is sane. So Jonas is an average 12-year-old living in the community. Now, 12-year-olds living in the community each get an assigned task that they'll have to live on for the rest of their life. Now, there are a lot of tasks like messenger or ball boy or a lot of stuff. There's a lot of rules and a lot of tasks you can get. But Jonas got a particularly interesting role. It was something called the receiver of memory. Now, in case you haven't guessed by now, the receiver of memory is a person. It's the only person who gets the memories from the past, and he's basically only the sane one in the community full of mindless robots. So, at first, Jonas did not know what this was, but when he went to the previous receiver, who is now called the Giver, he explains everything, and he gives a lot of memories to Jonas by touching his hand on his bare back. I know, it's weird. Now, through this, Jonas realized that how he was living in a dystopian world instead of the utopia he believed he was living in. So he decided that he could not live like this, and he should do something to change it. So first he tries convincing the other people who lives there, because without their help, he cannot get out of a community unless dying, which he does not want. So he tries to talk some sense into the people, but they won't hear of it. They're still very mindless robots. So after that plan failed, Jonas decides he will just have to sneak out of the community. Now this is not easy, but the Giver and Jonas and a friend of his called Fiona, who actually got some sense, plotted a plan to get out of the community. Now, in Jonas's family, there's someone called Gabriel, and he's a baby boy. And he's a very fussy baby boy. But Jonas soon realizes that Gabriel can actually receive memories. Now, there are only few people who can be able to receive memories, and Jonas and the Giver are one of them. And it turns out that Gabriel, too, is one of them. So, Jonas tries transferring some good emotions into Gabriel, and it works. But Gabriel was soon due to releasing. Now, releasing might sound like a good word, but it turns out it's in one basic word, it means death. Yep, releasing out of the community, death. They inject some kind of poison into your brain, and you throw your body out of a community to freeze and die. Now, but don't blame the people there, they're just innocent. They don't know what they're doing. So, after Jonas realizes this shocking truth, he decides he has to protect Gabriel. So, he takes Gabriel along with him on his ride. Now, the Giver, who is gonna stay at the community, decides to talk some sense into the people, and if he fails, well, he'll be released. But something very important is that if you're released, if you escape the boundaries of the community, but people will consider you're dead, and the memories that Jonas or the Giver has will be transferred into the other people's heads, and they will finally get some sense. But that doesn't mean Jonas is gonna die. He still has the memories, and so does Gabriel and every other person. So it's a win-win. The only problem is, once Jonas has gone out of the community, it's not easy for him to get back. So eventually, Jonas and Gabriel get stuck in a blizzard, and they almost die. But in the snow, they see a sled, and one of Jonas's first memories that he got from the Giver is riding on a sled down a mountain hill. So it turns out that sled is the exact same sled he found in his memory. So that is still unexplained. But Jonas and Gabriel ride the sled, and in the far away forest, Gabriel and Jonas see a bunch of Christmas lights, and he can hear a bunch of people celebrating Christmas and eating. So he rides the sled towards the village, and the book just ends there. Now, of course, don't be disappointed. There's 3 more books to this, and I'm pretty sure it's called Gathering Blue, Messenger, and Sun. Now, the really cool thing is, the main character in Giver, yes, Jonas, and the main character in book 2, each have their own different story. Now, they each grow up in their village and decide to escape, and they meet in book 3. And then in book 4, the story follows 10 years after book 3. So it's a very intriguing story. All of this is very intriguing. So I really want to read the rest 3 books. But I think The Giver really might be the best book among them, because it really gives you a life lesson that in a dark world, in a hard world, there's always a way to escape. So that is a life lesson that Giver taught me, and I really think Giver should be very highly rated among the world, and I really think that this should keep going on to series 5, 6, 7. So I guess this will be the end of my book review today.